We got some pretty big news from the Midnight Beta, where he discovered a ton of new class race combos for the Paladins. This is not one of those, we discovered a single skin, so Paladins are confirmed to be coming, but we got multiple NPCs, brand new dialogue, we got some armors, we got new spells that are clearly Paladin related, and we got a combination of interviews where Blizzard confirmed that new race-based combos will be coming. So far there is very strong evidence for Night Elves, Void Elves, and kul'tirans getting Paladins, and at the moment pretty decent evidence for the Forsaken finally getting Paladins together with a few more races. Let us review everything we currently know because there is a ton of interesting information to unpack. Anything Warcraft related, Warhammer, Destiny, pretty much any game you can imagine you can get at the best market prices with my link in the description below on Gamivo. On top of that I got mobile top-ups, software, a whole bunch of other things. Even better, if you use my code DORON, you will get another discount on top, so click my link in the description and check out Gamivo. I am well aware that I made a ton of these types of videos and some have come to fruition as we had gotten like this new Demon Hunter spec, we got the new Dynactyr spec, but some has not yet happened or might not even happen, but we have some I'd say undeniable evidence currently in the Midnight Beta, which I feel like is way too much of a coincidence for a few things to happen at once. Paladins have been getting less and less restricted for a lot of other races. I mean, you may remember back in the day, only a few races really had Paladins, and Blood Elf Paladins was a really big deal. It's one of the main reasons a lot of people played the Horde back in TBC. Now, in Cataclysm, we got the Tauren Paladins, which I still remember was a really weird thing back in the day, with a lot of the community being focused on how that doesn't even make sense. I mean, we kind of figured them out as being Sun Druids. However, as time went by, more and more became available, and looks like that trend is actually continuing. Realistically, I think we got multiple options, but so far based on hard Midnight data, it does appear that 3 versions are very likely coming as soon as early midnight. There is just like too much evidence currently going on. Also, remember the entire tiers order back in Dragonfight, how there was like a big setup for Paladins essentially being open to all the races, because Paladins can kind of work in any way, shape or form with what is currently going on with the light. So, the most interesting new Paladin race, in my opinion, that we currently got evidence for are the Night Elven ones. Now, the info itself comes from the Midnight Beta. As you may know, the cinematic as it starts, we got Paladins and Priests all across Azeroth. They're coming in to defend Azeroth and the Sunbelt from the Void Invasion, and of course, here you can see all the known Paladins and Priests you've ran into over the years, as well as a lot of notable Paladins that we know of. However, we see some really interesting people, one of these being Delas Moonfang. You may actually remember her, and she has been a topic of discussion for a while now, but she's like this priestess of the moon who joined the Silver Hand to become a Night Elf Paladin all the way back in Legion, and you could see Night Elf Paladins confirmed 10 years ago because this priestess joined, and Priestess of the Moon was always like this weird version of regular priests. However, she has come back now and she has a totally new armor, and she's much more of a Paladin as opposed to this Priestess of the Moon, this wake thing she was back in the day. Most interestingly, she says this outright. She said she was a priestess for a long time, but she always felt her education was incomplete. When she walked in these Paladin halls, she realized a new path awaits, the one of a Paladin of the Silver Hand. I mean, here she outright states that she is now a full-blown Paladin and no longer the mysterious wake priestess of the light of the moon. And by the way, as I said, I mean, she's also wearing the Night Elven type Paladin armor, which is also a hint in itself. Now, you might say, oh, a coincidence, but there is actually a lot more to unpack here. So, alongside Night Elves, we got the Onara Dawnshade, a Paladin Void Elf, which is a really strange combo. We first saw her in the prologue for the War Within in Telegrass Rift, and she was seen back then with Paladin abilities when Telegrass was attacked by the Shadow Guard, and her armor literally screams Paladin, which, as I said, is a really strange combination. I mean, for the Night Elves it makes sense, but for the Void Elves, they're literally elves that embrace the Void, but now they're also embracing the light. It is definitely a bit of a weird combination. Furthermore, another really interesting character is a kul'tiran paladin that we can actually seen back in Dragonfight, and this was also a hint back in the day, and he joined the Silver Hand and that Tears Guard I previously mentioned, and he's clearly a paladin. He even gives us some dialogue on his journey and how he turned into a full-blown paladin, and this guy is more of like a straight-out paladin. Now, as I said, you might say, I mean, 3 paladin NPCs doesn't mean anything, this is confirmed, but there is actually more, and this has really been long set up. I mean, the Night Elf Priestess back in Legion really was a one-off hint, but they have been setting up a lot of things over the years. Together with these, we literally got brand new spells. Chargers themed after Void Elves and kul'tirans. They're classified as Paladin spells, and while it is possible that these could just be NPC only spells, there is way too much integration here into the Paladin talent tree. I mean, previously we discovered these types of NPC spells for Devourer Demon Hunters and Augmentation Evokers, and people were saying it could be random, but they turned into legit specs, so this was a completely legit hint. Now, here's the thing, I mean, these three I do think seem very likely, I mean, just based on the midnight beta itself, but there is actually more evidence, especially for Horde races. First of all, we have an interview after midnight was announced, and Blizzard straight out told us that because Void Elves are getting Demon Hunters, there will be a big faction disbalance. I mean, here we got Night Elves, Void Elves, and kul'tirans all Alliance, which means if they are added, there will be more added to the Alliance, so they obviously gotta do more to the Horde. I mean, probably at least 3 more. We have been getting Light Forsaken horse models in the past few months, and a few more questlines involving Forsaken Paladins, and as you may know, Forsaken had priests for like the longest time, so Forsaken Paladins never really made sense. I mean, why are they not available if they can be priests? I mean, you also got Megar Priests, which was a strange addition to be fair, but Paladins overall have been significantly watered down. I mean, when you think of a Paladin, don't think of that like human warrior Paladin. I mean, there is so much more to it. I mean, we literally got playable Tauren and Zandalari Paladins, which by all accounts are completely different from regular human Paladins, and as I said, I mean, the entire human archetype Paladin is completely outdated. I mean, we have Draenei Paladins that are very much different, despite being more light related than the Tauren and the Zandalari. Recently, you may have also seen that really strange questline where the Orc Etric is join the human faction, which is really a video in itself, so everything really is kind of getting watered down, and I think Blizzard is really going to drop the ball in this expansion on the Paladins. I mean, they added the Demon Hunters to the Void Elves, and they're very likely going to add 3 new classes to the Alliance just based on the Paladins, and they confirmed in the interview that they will have to make it up to the Horde. So I honestly think at least the Forsaken Paladins are going to come because they have priests, a ton of recent setups, and they confirmed that the Forsaken will be relevant in this expansion. Most importantly though, I mean, a big part of this expansion is the entire light versus void dynamic, and it's becoming clear that things are really not that black and white. I mean, the light is clearly becoming evil in a few ways in this expansion, and the Blood Elves are even talking about abandoning it, yet new people are coming to embrace the light. Furthermore, there are more void users than ever, and the void is literally trying to destroy us in midnight, so it does appear that we're starting to view the cosmological forces as more like these regular, like neutral power sources without anything mystical or crazy to it, like cultural aspects, like the Draenei had a connection to the Naru, and I think we're just kind of seeing these things as just like from a practical standpoint. Because of that, I really don't see why at this point literally any race can become Paladins and just start straight out wielding the light. I mean, lore-wise, there is not much stopping them. Also, this isn't just a light thing. I think we might see something more similar for other cosmological forces, such as the Void, for example. We are really getting exposed to the raw forces of the cosmos, and I honestly think we know more than ever about what is really going on in the universe. Because of this, I think all these cultural limits are going to be arbitrary, and soon, like, anyone can pick up anything. I mean, if we manage to get all the races to become monks so fast in midst of Pandaria, same thing could be done for a lot of other classes. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on the Sword of Sargeras finally being relevant with a new interview and someone coming for it by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on the Titans and Greek mythology that I've recorded live on site in Italy by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.